They have a TV and laptop, plus a phone, so they can say goodnight to their kids. Guards have to knock on the door before entering and are banned from using the words prisoners, offenders, and cells. And a well-stocked library. They can also play pool for hours. But the Liberal regime at Britain's biggest prison, HMP Berwyn in North Wales, has backfired less than 18 months after it opened. The £212 million jail near Wrexham is gripped by a drugs epidemic, daily violence and staff walkouts. A Sunday People investigation today reveals that in its first year alone, police probed 167 crimes. Lags were hauled into 626 disciplinary meetings. Thugs started 17 fires and launched 3 dirty protests. More than half of prisoners were caught with smuggled mobile phones. An inmate died after overdosing on spice. Several staff were left with life-changing injuries from attacks. 28 officers resigned amid fears for their safety. In recent weeks, some needed surgery from assaults by inmates wielding their batons. Others were potted with urine and faeces. A senior source claimed prisoners were running the jail that critics feared would be too soft. The insider said, "You go easy on them, they will take liberties." That's exactly what's happened, and staff can't control it. It is the second largest jail in Europe with room for 2,100 inmates. Governor Russ Trent, an ex-Royal Marine, insisted lags lived in rooms, not cells, and guards had to knock before entering. It was part of a plan to make the building truly rehabilitative and a place that didn't feel like jail. "They are not prisoners, they are men," said Deputy Project Director Nick Dann. "If you keep calling someone an offender or ex-offender, that's how they will act. If they start off with a mindset that this does not feel like a prison, we are hoping they will act like it is not a prison." It seems this may have been wishful thinking. 2 officers needed surgery for face injuries after an attack by 1 inmate. Official figures reveal fire crews were called 17 times, and there were 67 incidents of height climbing on anti-suicide netting or internal roofs. Police were called to 167 reports involving drugs or violence, almost 1 every 2 days. Glyn Travis, of the Prison Officers Association, said, "It's a weekly occurrence that staff are getting used as punchbags, often vicious assaults that leave life-changing injuries. Or hospitalised because they've inhaled drugs like spice. And it doesn't make a difference whether they're a man or a woman. And all because they're trying to say no. No to illegal mobile phones, no to drugs, no to more time out of cells." He claimed the explosion of violence was down to the governor's Liberal regime, which gave prisoners a position of power, adding, "There's far too much respect, and they're not being punished for stepping out of line. You mollycoddle prisoners, letting them do what they want, and they'll do just that." Staff are leaving in droves because they fear for their safety. There should be 1 officer for every 20 prisoners. Here the ratio is significantly higher for prisoners. Some lags have left mocking reviews on TripAdvisor, such as armed robber Darren Edwards, who was transferred from Liverpool's HMP Course. He wrote on Snapchat, "I'm quietly impressed. I don't have these kind of luxuries at home, but I suppose that's one of the reasons to get away now and then, you know, to spoil yourself." The service from staff can be a little funny, and the TV is only a 32-incher, but it'd be unfair to drag them down just for that. Earlier this month, the Independent Monitoring Board revealed drugs were readily available, and half of lags had a mobile phone they'd sneaked in. After 50 prison officers gathered outside the gates in protest this month, POA National Chairman Mark Fairhurst said, "Over the course of the last 4 weeks there have been quite a few assaults on staff, and the staff have highlighted to me their concerns about the lack of consequences for those actions. We want safe working conditions, and I'm pleased to say the committee are engaging with the management. We're trying to resolve those issues. Last weekend we had a member of staff butted and lost some teeth. We've had pottings where prisoners throw excrement and urine over staff, and I've heard that over the weekend a member of staff was kicked down the stairs." Read more top stories from Mirror Online. The Howard League for Penal Reform claimed living conditions at the jail were disgusting. The group's chief executive Francis Crook said, "Berwyn is fundamentally flawed. The design makes men share two to a cell with an unscreened toilet, and half of the men are forced into total idleness because there are not enough activity places. This is the worst designed prison in Europe, and it will be a shame on our nation for generations." Last night, a prison service spokesman said, "We are getting more staff and better tech to tackle drugs and violence in prisons, and a recent report said Berwyn is performing well."